Tell me I sound like a broken record. It doesn't make me any less wrong. Once again, what a day of football. And here on Golden Goal, brought to you by OddsChecker, we are here to break it all down. He's Martino Puccio, co-host, State of the Play Pod, also writes for The Athletic. I'm Matias Weilmann here from OddsChecker. Martino, we finally have a bow on the group stages, ready for the round of 16. It has been a hell of a tournament so far.
Yeah, this has definitely been the best group stage I think in my life that I could remember. Yeah. They're early. I can't because of 2002 because that was in Korea, so I was not able to be up at 7 years old. But as far as everything else, I mean, really, it just blown everything out of the water. Teams had opportunities to advance on the final day. We had some crazy qualifications, specifically from Korea and Japan. Congratulations to them on getting through. But just overall, I think it was a 10 out of a 10. And I think people really tried to dog too much on 0-0 draws because those were still awesome games. But look at what we got on the final match day. By far the best that I think we've seen.
We'll start with what was the match of the day, and it was Serbia and Switzerland. We both agreed yesterday during our preview episode that was going to be the best match of the day. Well, lo and behold, here we are, and it lived up to the billing. Not only did that live up to the billing, your plays also lived up to the billing, so pat on the back there. But, you know, Serbia loses, they are out, Switzerland ends up advancing. Big takeaways from here, besides just a victory lap for you?
I mean, like you said, best day of the tournament. This was literally the best game for me. Just the over 2.5 and Swiss moneyline parlay. It's almost plus 500. The over 2.5 alone, and Bolo anytime goal scorer. I said Shaqiri or Shaka, one of those guys that you could look at for those narrative based bets if you wanted to place that. I tweeted that out again in the morning, and first goal goes to Shaqiri. He does the Albanian celebration. But I think this was literally what we talked about with the Swiss, and it was the perfect game that they wanted. They were abusing them on counterattacks. They were finishing the opportunities, and Serbia played well in this one too, but their defense let them down. Way too many goals allowed. 8 goals. I think the only other team that allowed more was Costa Rica at this point in the group stage, and that can't be something from it. And Costa Rica almost did that in one game, by the way.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy part in all this. One of my dark horse teams, last place. Gotta say, if I take the good from this game, I gotta talk about overall what I had in the preview. But really disappointing from Serbia again. But congrats to the Swiss. This is why they're one of the toughest outs in the tournament, and they're going to continue to be so.
Yeah, I went against my word, which is smart, because I really thought Serbia could end up taking this, and I wanted them to, because I think we had both picked Brazil and Serbia out of this group. I took both teams to score, hit on that, and then Switzerland draw no bet. So I'll take that. We easily hit that, both teams to score. But Switzerland ends up advancing, finished second in the group. Other game from this group, not exactly what we expected, but it's inconsequential at least. Brazil losing 1-0 to Cameroon. Only real thing we played on here was Brazil halftime and full time. That obviously did not happen. Cameroon won outright. We did say to potentially watch for this because it's a Brazilian team that didn't have to win, but you know, there's no reason for concern here for Brazil, right?
No, this was just take your point, take your points, win the group. Like there really wasn't a scenario in which they were going to lose out on that. Rest your players because they also have to rest Neymar. Obviously, that's why he wasn't playing the last 2 games. No, I didn't learn too much. Awesome for Cameroon to get their points. Abubakar, maybe one of the funniest red cards in the of all time, where he scores his goal, takes off his shirt, gets sent off, and he was happy to do so. So congratulations to Cameroon. And also that's why you bet on dogs sometimes when it's the final match day of teams that have nothing to lose. This is why we say it's lineup dependent. We saw it with Tunisia. The 2 main favorites of this tournament lost on the final match day because they sat players. That's why lineups are ever so important in this sport. We're not really going to see anything like that the rest of the tournament, but now you know 4 years from now on how to bet that.
I mean, look, between Korea Republic, between Cameroon, you talked about it, you know, just France sitting their players. Argentina didn't have the ability to sit them at least, but there's a lot of teams here that sat players, said we're good, and then there's a lot of money out there to be claimed. So shout out to them. Let's move on now to that group that we were talking about, South Korea and Portugal. Portugal had already wrapped up a spot. They didn't exactly sit players to at least start the game here. Ronaldo did end up playing. That's why we always say check the lineups. South Korea with a really late goal. If you haven't heard it yet or seen the video of the South Korean announcer just going crazy when they score that goal in stoppage time to put them up 2-1 and send them on to the next round. You got to watch it. I mean, it's this. You can't not smile when you see this.
Yeah, it's an electric call, and it's great to see a team clinch something like that in the dying minutes. And you even saw the opposite of reaction of Luis Suarez on the Uruguayan bench in their match. But again, this is exactly what we were talking about. Over 2.5 hits, both teams to score hit like within the first like 35 minutes or something like that. So it was awesome to see. If you parlayed it, kudos to you. But again, this is also what we talked about with Cristiano Ronaldo. Yes, he ended up starting the game, but if you were to have taken a anytime goal scorer, he didn't play the full match. And that's really the difference in this. And that's what you have to worry about. That's what ended up happening. And that's why you also don't want to take any money line types of bets in this. But kudos to Korea. They survive in advance, and that's really what all these tournaments are about. As far as Portugal goes, I have no idea what the approach was for this match. It was kind of odd. So yeah, I have nothing much left to say. But it was a thrilling match, though, I have to say.
Now it's time for us to air some frustration because we both, without knowing, talking to each other, both took two things live. We had both teams to score for Portugal and South Korea, or for there to be another goal, hit that. And we also ended up taking, I believe you took both teams to score for Ghana and Uruguay. I just took for another goal to happen, or vice versa. And that didn't end up happening. Uruguay wins 2-0, but again, with that Korean goal, they end up going out. If you're Ghana here, you're at least happy that you played spoiler and didn't let up another goal. But I mean, if you're Uruguay, you got to be sick to your stomach right now.
I would be too, but this is why you have to finish your like it's so funny because you think like opening match day, you think, okay, like we'll relax, or we still have 2 other games to play. No, this is why literally every single match is ever so important. The lack of finishing in a 0-0 draw against Korea was all the difference, and the differential within these matches as well. And also, sometimes you get the benefit of the doubt. If you play the best team by far on the final match day, there's those opportunities that they might rest players because they hit that magical number 6. Unfortunately for me, I took over 2.5 instead of under 2.5. And really, again, should have hit. I thought there wasn't a penalty that was supposed to be given a penalty. Ghana, we talked about it. How awful do they have to feel about a penalty being given and they miss it again against Uruguay? That's just Go ahead.
No, it's just, you can't make it up. Like, it's so rough. I believe I was the one that had both teams to score at that point. And I'm watching that and I'm like, this is a sick joke, right? Like, I don't know. Like, it's
how could you not? They were and also in the dying minutes of the game when Uruguay was pushing to go and get that third goal because the differential was everything. They had awesome opportunities. Cavani had a header saved as well. Again, this is why it's one of the most thrilling sports in the world.
Rough. We're gonna move on now to bigger and brighter things. Hopefully, we're gonna move on to our round of 16. Again, if you got any questions, you're watching us live, let us know in the comments. Any of your best bets that we got, we'll do our best to get to them, or to get to you retroactively at least. We're going to start with the game that everyone's going to have their eyes on in the tri-state area where we are and across the entire nation. It's the U.S. and it's Netherlands, 1A versus 2B. This is a pretty decent draw for the U.S. This is a team that they can match up with tactically. Do you think they can pull it out, though?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think either of these next 2 rounds for Team USA are out of the realm of possibility. And now I think it's also important to state we're in knockout stage football. This is different type of betting. This is totally different lines, totally different numbers, totally different types of prop bets that you can see. The way, some people might bet to qualify for the next round. There's people betting in regular time as opposed to extra time. You could bet method of victory. There's so many different options that you could look at. For me, it's under 2.5. I don't think we've seen a lot of great goal scoring from both sides. I think we've said it time and time again. If there were 2 sides in this tournament that lacked the clinical goal scoring, it was these 2. And now they face up, and under 2.5 isn't that bad. And again, knockout football, these matches are a lot tighter. You might not see teams take as many risks as they would on a final match day. But then again, there's goal scoring periods. Is there somewhere between the 75th and 90th minute? Do you see goals in that range? There's so many different things that you look at. But from a standard perspective, I I go for Team USA here. If you like them to qualify, I think out of all the teams in all the matches in the round of 16, for the to qualify for the next round bet, Team USA has the best value. And they're around like plus 200. They're creeping around there. But the one I'm most comfortable with is under 2.5.
Yeah, I'm sitting in an interesting spot here because, we really talked about the bet on our preview show, and I ended up putting it through. I have the U.S. to be eliminated in the round of 16 right now. And the more and more I think about it, I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm gonna let it ride. Maybe I'll hedge a little bit. But I mean, my bet here is for away anytime goal. Because I think there are enough opportunities. There have been enough close opportunities, especially last game. I don't know that there's going to be a lot of goals, but I feel like he might be able to get on the score sheet. I'm kind of eyeing a 2-1 final score line. Don't ask me who has the 2 and who has the 1.
Okay.
But I really do think, I think it's going to be a really close game. So if you want to take, if you want to at least play for the push and take, US +1, it's not a bad idea. But these are two really evenly matched teams. We talk about both teams struggling to score coming in. The Netherlands has found it a lot more than the U.S., but you can't deny that the U.S., especially last game, just has looked better and better as the tournament has gone on, and they have created significantly more chances, at least giving them the opportunity to pull out a win there.
I mean, the worst half they played was just the second against Wales. I thought every other half of football they were playing very well. And on top of it, they were outperforming England, who were still considered by some to be a favorite to win this thing. And again, I think the midfield matches up so well with everyone else. And I think they match up well against the Dutch midfield. The only issue here is the Dutch have a fantastic defense. Are they able to create their chances and finish them? But this is all it takes. You're right about Tim Witt. Like he has been the one consistent player that gets close to goal, and whatever slim chance he has, whether he's offside or not, he's finishing those opportunities. And they're very difficult ones too, by the way. They're not like these easy type of finishes. The one that got called back against Iran was one of the better finishes of the tournament that got called back. I could see that happening, but I do agree overall spreads are something to look at as well. This is going to be a very tight game, but again, different when you bet in those 90 minutes. If you like USA in extra time, USA on penalties, right? So like this is just like a thought process of betting some of these underdogs. If you don't love them in regular time, if you don't think they have the goal scoring, some teams just drag games out. If they do have good conditioning, if their play style is conducive to getting to those penalties, and penalties are a crapshoot. Seriously, and also penalties are so fun to bet on because you could always bet on the next kick for a miss or a score. So those are just fun for people who don't or have any experience doing something like that. But I think this one's going to be close overall.
Yeah, I think it will, and we're in for a treat for our first game on Saturday. Our second game on Saturday is an interesting matchup. Dare I say it, a weird matchup. It's the winners of Group C and the second place finishers of Group D. Maybe we didn't expect those. It's Argentina and Australia. This is interesting. Australia has scored first in all 3 matches so far of the World Cup. But speaking of teams that have, looked significantly better and continue to look better and better, Argentina certainly fits that billing. You rolling with Argentina here? You rolling with both teams to score? No? What are we feeling?
Yeah. I'm going both teams to score because every single time I'm underestimating Australia. They're making it a game and finishing chances. And Argentina hasn't been a great defensive side this tournament. I think they have turned it around a little bit. Again, the finishing has gotten better. It hasn't been that poor. They're playing teams that are trying to be very tough. The way Poland was set up, they were literally sitting back trying to wait on a counterattack. Their counterattack was garbage, to be quite honest with you.
Non-existent.
But exactly. It was just Lewandowski. It was worse than Mexico's. We were talking about how bad Mexico were on the counterattack. Poland was even worse. I didn't think it was possible, but it came to be true. But I just think there is going to be a little bit more goals-wise here. I could see a 2-1. I could see even a 3-1 for Argentina. I wouldn't touch anything in terms of qualification unless you were a big Australia backer for whatever reason. You want to see Messi lose. That's not you or I, so that doesn't really pertain to this conversation. But yeah, for me, it's just both teams to score. And again, Argentina is so heavily favored. I don't even think I want to parlay it with a money line with some of the bets in here. I would only maybe do it with an anytime goal scorer that you're kind of confident in. And by the way, I'd probably stay off of Lautaro. I was dead wrong on him for this tournament. Well, it's cold and hot, Lautaro. We got the cold one for the World Cup. But watch me say this, and he performs amazing in the knockout stages.
I mean, you said it's different football, so it might be a little different here. You
Maybe.
maybe rolling with maybe a McAllister, anytime goal scorer. That's been a pretty popular bet amongst most books. I think he's around at 180-ish.
The story of him is amazing because his father's
Yeah.
from Scotland, went all the way to Argentina, and used to play with Maradona down there, and now his son is playing with Messi. It's just a crazy scenario. He ended up scoring, and honestly, he brings a lot of lively energy to Argentina.
Hmm.
So he was getting a couple of opportunities. He almost scored a brace in the last match. So I don't know. I think Argentina's going to have a good time creating chances, like we saw what France did against Australia. I think it'll be a little bit more high scoring than some would think.
Okay. Moving on now to the winners of Group D and the second place finishers for Group C. It's France and Poland. I think we're kind of leaning the same way here. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, but I think France will comfortably take this.
I think France should beat them down. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think this should be close. I like France to win to nil. Any of the scores, if you want to put them up
Mm-hmm.
1-0, 2-0, or the score combinations where you get three different ones. Mbappe, anytime goal scorer, you can get that. It's a little. It was around plus money, but it really depends on day of.
Mm-hmm.
You could parlay that with the over 2.5, which I think is going to happen. But I do have another one that's Mbappe over 2.5 France money line. The best value via the grid is saying plus 378 on FanDuel. I really love France in this scenario. Give me Mbappe. And don't count out
Mm-hmm.
Griezmann. He's been very close. If that's just a side anytime goal scorer, if you want to look elsewhere, because, people think you get lazy when you pick Mbappe types. Again, and also future
Wasn't
awards.
lazy about making money. Just saying.
Exactly. Also, future awards. By the way, if some books that you know of are still offering player of the tournament, I desperately think that if you were to bet someone, you have to do Mbappe now. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
it's absolutely necessary that you do it now as opposed to a latter time because he's going. I think he's going to take over. He is terrifying. He might be one of the best international players of all time by the end of this tournament. So
Wow.
he's out of it. He's
Hell
out
of a
of his
statement.
mind. He's. I mean, listen, we're talking about almost 2 World Cups by the age of 23, and if he's able to pull that off, that's truly incredible. He's already one goal behind Messi and Ronaldo for World
Yeah.
Cup history. This kid is incredible. France is incredible. I expect big things in this game.
Yeah, I'm looking at things, kind of in the same bracket as you. I'm looking at maybe France minus 1.5. I want to take France to win to nil. My only concern is that I think France is going to dominate this game so heavily to start, and that Poland might just grab a late one. Is honestly my fear. I don't think there's going to be any question on who's going to play better. And of course, because we're saying this and we're that confident, that obviously means Poland's going to win, right? But I just think that France is such a better team. I'm a little weary of just a late random Polish goal to make it like 4-1 or like 3-1 or something. Which I don't think I have the heart to take that if I don't think my heart can take that if I take the to win to nil. So I'm going to stay a little more on the spread side, but we're on the same boat here. And our last game that we're going to get to, it is the last one of the round of 16. So it's going to be the 2 p.m. slot on Sunday, of course, Eastern time. It's England, the winners of Group B, and the second place finishers, Senegal, for Group A. We both like England in this one. I don't think we're on the same page, though, in terms of how many goals we're going to see.
Yeah, this and to be fair, I don't love this game that much to cap it. I think England's gonna win it.
A lot of different angles.
There's so many. I could really see this going to extra time. Extra time is just this. Senegal is such a tough side, and like England have had good spurts of scoring a lot, but then we also see how they handle the U.S. defense, which arguably isn't the greatest. But Senegal, they played well in every single match. I got to be honest. Like the lack of finishing, I think it really hurts with Sadio Mane. I'm going under 2.5 because I think both of these sides have been pretty decent defensively, and there have been some issues with finishing at times. Like, England was scoring in spurts against Wales. They scored 3 in 15 minutes. And then the rest of the match, you're talking about few and far between. This is the knockout stages. These matches are a lot more intense. I don't love anything, but what I did put was England in under 2.5, say a 2-0 win or something like that. That's plus 152 on PointsBet.
I am going to probably stay away from this. This is probably going to be a no play for me. But if I had to go anywhere, I might go over 2.5, honestly. Or like you said, to go to extras. I think that Senegal is just not going to go down without a fight.
Yeah.
And I just think in the end, it's just going to be the case of England just has too much talent. It's just, I hate to keep harping on it, but it's just going to, for all these Senegal games, you always go back to it. And I think at the end of this one, we're going to say, damn, I wish they had Mane because that would have been so much fun. It's a shame.
No. Exactly. It is a shame, and the thing is, you could bet halves too if you want to just like even like watch the whole game for the first half. If you have a certain read on it, if you know how Gareth Southgate plays things, if you know what substitutes are capable of making an impact or coming off the bench, or say England again, if England or even if Rashford isn't starting, like how do you not take Rashford's been unbelievable. I think he's been their best player. To me, it's like, if you see something going well in terms of England, say they're up 1-0, they're headed into the second half. Do you just have England draw and see out the rest of the match? Do you see maybe one more goal? It really just depends on that. I think I would look to bet England in the second half money line. Just check those odds. It's just all about how that game unfolds, and that's why it gets a little tricky with soccer sometimes. It's not the easiest, but again, you don't have to bet if you're not comfortable with something, and that's what I'm gonna do. But that's the only direction I would lean in.
I just think about every Japan game where the first half is like, oh man, they're going to get 3 put on them. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, we have 2 goals and we're not even out of the 50th minute yet. Of course, make sure that you are staying with us on our website on oddschecker.com/US. You can also add your Safari page or Google Chrome page, whatever you want, to your home screen on your iPhone, just so you can check that quickly as well. We update our odds in real time as well, so you know what book to go to before the game and during the game. Of course, you can take a look at our grid on our screen for where you can get your best value. There's no reason to not get it. Martino, before I let you go, because we're starting the round of 16 here and everything's set, I just want to run through if anything has changed for you in terms of path. If you want to start taking a look at some World Cup winners to go a little different. So we have Netherlands, US, Argentina, Australia. Bottom left, it's Japan, Croatia, Brazil, Korea, Republic. Then over on the right side, it's England, Senegal, France, Poland, and then Morocco, Spain, Portugal, Switzerland. I kind of start leaning Morocco's way. I think England, if they can get by France, is like, oh, they might go to the World Cup finals, huh?
Yeah, no, England has a potential great spot, but it's just the quarterfinals is tougher than the semis for them. It's really funny how that unfolds. I think Portugal's path is way harder than they ever wanted it to be at this point. Seriously, like you're talking about the Swiss in the first place could easily knock them out there. Spain and Morocco is going to be incredibly tough for them. And then what happens? You have to face France or England. To me, and France again, you don't think France wants revenge for what happened in 2016? Like that stuff matters still. That was a final, and I got to be honest with you. I'm not a hater like that, but Ronaldo has not looked good. He has not looked good. And there's a lot of dependency upon him. And if the dependency is upon Ronaldo and they didn't rest him like they should have, if he gets tired, he hasn't had preseason, he hasn't played a lot for Manchester United, and we're expecting an impact to happen in these knockout stages against much better sides, I wouldn't love it for them. But as far as Argentina and Brazil go, by the way, on the other side of the bracket, if I could just jump to that real quick, this has to be it for them. They have to meet in the semifinal. It is a disaster for either country if they don't make it there, because no disrespect to any other team, anything can happen in the knockout stages. But we're talking about Croatia or Japan facing Brazil potentially, like if they get past Korea, like we all expect them to, and then Argentina has to face Australia. They should be getting by them, and then the U.S. or Netherlands, they're going to be favored. Again, if you have that matchup in the semifinal, or if you place your bet for the semifinal, that's it. And again, for the last time, if you're betting Brazil to win the tournament, do it now, because it's not worth it any other time.
Yeah, some paths have cleared for some people, and some have really gotten muddied up, like you heard. All right, Martino, I'm going to let you go so we can rest up before a full day of soccer tomorrow as well. He's Martino Puccio. I'm Matias Weilmann. Keep it locked with OddsChecker. We're going to be with you all weekend with the Morning Edge. We're going to have all your best bets, all your football, all your NCAA football. You can go check out our channel and go see those episodes right now. We will be with you on Monday talking about what we saw. Hopefully some happiness for Team USA, but regardless, we're going to have a clearer picture of how we're getting to that final for the World Cup. We will see you guys on Monday. Have a nice weekend.